Welcome to Quick Cash Flow Keys. This is the very first key that we're going to give you to quick cash through case study number 1. And this is how I made $3,000 in the first 30 days of a brand new industry. And it's important for me to point out that it's a brand new one because I want you to know you're getting a variety of different case studies through this process. One that's very recent, one that's from years and years and years ago, one that's low traffic, one that's a lot of traffic, one that's low ticket pricing, one that's high ticket pricing. And the reason why I did this is because I want to make sure that wherever you're at in business or in life, there is something that is going to apply to you here, something that you can learn, and to show that it doesn't matter where you're at, there is a key to quick cash that I want you to know all about. So that is what you are going to get, and I hope you're looking forward to it. But let's dive on into case study number 1. I'm going to give you some context before we go too far. And the context here is that it was a brand new industry that I had never worked in before. I went from everything that I did being in business, in marketing, in sales, in branding within that type of industry. Yes, I did telemarketing in college, and I was a sales associate at Walmart when I was a child. Okay. But when I had a real job, it was as a social media marketing intern for a business consultant. And then I went into virtual assistant agency, and then I went into being a business consultant myself. Everything that I did was about business. This one is in law. It is in the legal field. And it is because I burnt down a business that was making millions so that I could go into law, so that I could go into politics and I could help the world, right? I wanted to make a bigger impact than business consulting would. I am here right now because I know so much about business and marketing. I want to give it out. I want to give it out and help people be able to make money no matter where they're at in this world, because money is a part of living. That is why I'm doing this. But I went into law. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you go into law school, the very first year you are there, they call it the 1L year. And that is the hardest part of law school, is your 1L classes. And a big part of that is you have to make outlines for your final exams. And if you don't, then everyone just thinks you're going to fail. They put so much pressure on you. Do your final exam outlines. And then you got to kick it. You got to kick the ball out of the court when it comes to final exams. And so I had this idea. What if I sell my final exam prep materials to 1L students? And I went and I looked into it, and no one else had ever done it before. I went and looked on Amazon. There's a bunch of businesses that do help people who are studying for the LSAT. They do help people who are in law school or who are going to take the bar exam, but no one else had sold actual final exam outlines. And so I was like, oh my God, I could be the first one doing this. And I know business and marketing, so I could kick butt in it and I could help a lot of people in the process. And so that's the context for how this all happened. It was a new industry that I had not worked in before, and it was a brand new offer to that industry. So I think those are something that could get your brain running with ideas, okay? Now, the first offer that I made with all of that in mind was turning one of the outlines into a book, an actual book that they could go on Amazon and they could buy. Now, the way that I did that is I had a graphic designer for $50, okay, just $50, go and turn my outline into everything that is needed to go and publish the book without a publisher, just with Amazon KDP. If you don't know what that is, you can go look into it, but that is a way that you can publish your own book on Amazon. And it's not that much if you get an overseas graphic designer to do the work. And so you look here, this is a picture of what it is like on Amazon. If you search the Torts final exam outline, mine will come up. Now you'll notice I did publish it for $46, which is high for books. But you know what I did? I went and I researched on Amazon what other law related books are charging. And I also knew, because I went to law school, and all of our books are expensive. So you know what? I published it basically for the price that I paid to get it published and to get it created by the graphic designer. And I was like, okay, I just need to make one sale and I make all that money back. right? And so that was my very first offer. Take one of my outlines, get a graphic designer to turn it into something that can be published, and then go on Amazon KDP and get it published. Research the pricing and put it at whatever price makes the most sense. That was offer number one. But then I said, you know what? I've got a lot of other outlines. I've got a lot of them. So this process just took so long. It took a really long time. And I had other people messaging me already, DMing me on TikTok, trying to get even more of them. And I said, okay, how can I make this faster? Because people are asking me for it, but also final exams are coming up. And so people are probably not going to buy it after final exams are over based on the timing. I want your head to be spinning, thinking about that piece too, about the timing of when these things are getting done. I said, how can I make this faster based on the time? But also, what if I made this even better by having multiple options? And I'm going to talk about the upgrade I made in just a bit. But first, I said, okay, I need other outlines that I can publish. And then there's also something that I personally did before final exams, which is that I made essay templates for myself going into the exams. And I said, you know what? What if I'm not publishing it on KDP? What if I'm just giving them my Google Doc links, right? That's how I created my outlines. What if I just give them those links? And so while I was kind of behind the scenes working on making things better, if someone DM'd me, I just had them send me Venmo. I made it so simple. In the meantime, while I'm working behind the scenes to make it even better, let me still make sure there is a way for people to pay. Okay, so this was my offer process number 2, but behind the scenes, guess what I was doing? I was upgrading all of this. I went and I thought of a domain, lawschoollegends.com. And I bought that domain. It's like $12 a year to buy a domain. You go to GoDaddy, whatever domain, software you want to use, it doesn't matter. Go and buy a domain. And then I've set up an email. So it's amanda@lawschoollegends.com. Okay. $12 a year or so. And then because I want them to be able to go to a website, buy from there, I need something like a merchant account. So like Stripe, you can create a Stripe account. And you don't really pay to create a Stripe account, but they do get a portion of your sales. They get a percentage of your sales. And I was like, that's fine. You can take a portion of it because this is going to automate all of it. This is going to upgrade my process. And then I had to get something called Samcart where I can make sales pages and I can make order forms. Yes, it's $80 a month, but guess what? If I make 1 to 2 sales, then that's done. I'm not paying too much when I don't have very many sales I have to make in order to meet that minimum. And then finally, I used a thing called Canva in order to make it possible for when people buy, I don't have to be manually emailing all of them. I'm going to make a PDF so that once they buy, it's automatically delivered to them in this beautiful way. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this all looks like. So my sales page, this is lawschoollegends.com. The very top of it says access law school exam outlines and essay templates. That's the very, very top of it. And it's got some pictures. Nothing crazy. But as they scroll, look, it has a list of all of the outlines that they can get. Nothing crazy, right? It's a picture and a name of the outline. Nothing crazy whatsoever. I didn't go like out of this world with the sales page. Now, each one, if they click on it, it takes them to the order form. The order form is nothing crazy. A title, a description, and a picture. And that's it. And as they scroll, there's what's called an order bump. Okay, that's where they're buying the one thing, but they can add another thing to their order. That is called an order bump. So I priced everything for $50. Everything is $50. That's it. And so if they're buying a $50 thing, they can add another $50 thing to their order. And I'm doubling what I am making. Now, when they buy, this is like a picture of what the PDFs looked like that I made on Canva. I just made sure everything looked black, white, and red. That way it's very consistent and it almost looks like a brand. And then, okay, so that's what it looked like. Now I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so you can also see it in that way too. Okay, so if you go to lawschoollegends.com, this is the top, you scroll, this is all of the things they can buy. And then I literally just like rewrote it at the end. And I did tell them there's the one-on-one tutoring they can get as well. They click, takes them to this order form. They can check the box. They can add it on. And then here, this is an example of one of the PDFs they get once they buy, right? A title page. This is the link. If they press it, it takes them to the thing that they just bought. Next page is meeting the author. And then there's another page that says, okay, here's the other outlines, and it clicks them over to the other order forms. This is another like upsell. So basically the thing that they buy, there's upsells for it. It's going to take them back to buying more. Okay. So that is my upgrade. I wanted to take it to the next level. So this is what I was working on behind the scenes when people were just Venmoing me. So it all started out in Amazon. Okay. It took too long and I wanted to make it faster. I wanted to make it more sustainable and more scalable, right? So then I went to saying, okay, I'm going to sell Google Doc links. In the meantime, just take Venmo in the meantime while I'm working on all of this behind the scenes. But then I'm going to massively upgrade it by making it automated with the software, by making it have a black, white, and red brand that is consistent. And that upgrade is going to make it so that I send them to lawschoollegends.com. It's got a sales page. It's got order forms. It's got order bumps. And they get this beautiful PDF when they buy that also has upsells back to the other things that they could buy. And there you go. That was my process. Now, how did I sell it? I sold it on TikTok. I am not even kidding. My traffic source was TikTok. And that's because in business and consulting, in that industry, I did Facebook. So my traffic on Facebook is all business coaches. I don't have a legal group of people that follow me on Facebook. So if I tried selling this on Facebook, I would not be getting sales. But guess what I did do? When I was on TikTok before, here, let me see if I can share my screen on that one too. Hold on one second. Okay, so when I was on TikTok before, this is me on TikTok. If you scroll down far enough, you will see that my very first TikTok was about a year and a half ago, I think. Right here. I had 123,000 views, 20,000, 11,000, 15,000, 170,000, 20,000 views on TikTok because I revealed my LSAT score. I got into the 99th percentile on my LSAT. There is 1% of the world that got a better score than I did. Okay. I killed it. And so people were following me to learn about my LSAT. And so I said, you know what? I bet I could do the same thing for law students, not just aspiring law students, but for law students, and I'll do really well. And so I shifted what I was talking about. Instead of it being just aspiring law students who are studying the LSAT, I'll start posting for law students specifically. And so first I was just posting TikToks to try to see what works. You can see it wasn't that great at first. It was like 400, 600, very different. So when I did aspiring law students, I was getting really high views. And then when I started going to law students, it wasn't quite as high. because I was still trying to figure things out. And then as I was figuring things out, paying attention to what was working, which ones were working, what hooks were working, what, what like edits to the videos were working. And I started making edits. You can see I've got 4,000, and then I got 20,000, almost 20,000, got 8,000, because another 1,000, another 10,000. So as I was figuring things out, not just posting by posting, okay, but actually like paying attention to what I was doing on TikTok, that's when I started making sales. I made sales through TikTok. And I noticed if I use certain tags, hashtags on TikTok, so hashtag 1L, hashtag law student, hashtag law school, hashtag law student life, hashtag law school life, those seem to do best because it's targeting the specific people who are going to be buying, right? I noticed that if I post more than one time a day, if I post, 3 to 5 times a day, I'm going to do better. If I post one or two things that are engaging and nurturing people, but then I literally post multiple times a day that are actually just selling, calling attention to the thing that I am selling, then that's when I'm making sales, right? Because I'm paying attention to the patterns. I also, let me see if I can share my screen again. I also updated my profile, so lawschoollegends.com is here. My email is here, okay? So that people could literally just click in my profile and go to that sales page. You can look, see, this was the promotion of both of these, our promotions for the Amazon book. And this is 14,000, this one's 10,000. And so I'm literally promoting the actual book itself, not just posting random things. They were very, very strategic things that I am posting on TikTok. So yes, I did use TikTok as my traffic source, but it was not just random posts. I was paying attention to the hashtags. I was paying attention to the hooks. I was paying attention to the frequency that I have to post. I was paying attention to what I actually needed to post. I was paying attention to what was working for other people, and I was modeling it, right? We talk about the profit clone technique in Immediately Paid that I run with Jenna Faith, how we watch what other people are doing, what's working for them, and we evaluate it, and then we model it to be able to make money. Okay, so I think it's really easy for people to understand key secret number one, but as we go along in these key secrets through the quick cash flow key, some of the other ones people will ignore. So key secret number one that I hope you're keeping track of here is you need to come up with an offer, and you need to create a way for people to buy it, right? I came up with my offer in the very beginning, like, what if I sell my final exam prep materials because no one else has done this? This is my offer, okay? But then I need a way for people to buy it. And so my upgrade was creating the sales page and the order forms, actually creating a way for people to buy it. So if you don't have an offer, you will not be making money. If you do not upgrade it, it will continue being hard, and it will not be as scalable. That is the key secret I want you to take away from this. Make sure you have an offer. Upgrade it to a way that people can buy it in a more scalable way. We'll talk more about traffic. I bet hearing about the traffic source TikTok probably has you wondering, okay, Amanda, but what about this traffic? I already gave you some tips, so make sure you take those away, but we're going to keep going, okay? So the next steps, you need to go and come up with your offers, envision how you're going to upgrade it. And then, you know what? Step number 2 is keep watching for secret number 2, because we are going to be going into traffic. But step number 3, I want you to think about this, is review and join Immediately Paid. Immediately paid is the membership I run with Jenna Faith, where you get more of these. You get more case studies. You get more examples of the profit clone technique where you see what other people are doing, then you model it. You know how to pull from it in order to make money like they did. So go ahead and look at immediately paid membership, and I want to see you inside so we can do more of this and you can go ahead and make more money. So there you go, guys. That is quick cash flow key from case study number 1. I will see you in the next video.